No matter who you are, you likely have a bank account. Many of us do, and many of us do bank online, but there are still some things like cash withdrawals or other services that you may want to do in person. But what would you do if the only bank physically in your neighborhood was shutting its doors for good? Well, the Royal Bank branch on Sargent and Sherbrook is in the news this morning. That's because it's set to close on July 10th. And it's the only one like it in the neighborhood. A group of residents is determined to keep it open. Cheryl Martins is one of those residents fighting to stop the closure. She's lived in the neighborhood for decades, and she doesn't rely on the bank herself, she says, but she says many of her neighbors do. She's worried about them. She's even gone so far as to connect and meet with the bank manager to try to see what's going on. And she's in studio with us. Good morning.
Good morning, Marcy. Thanks for covering this.
Yeah. When did you learn the bank would be closing its doors?
Well, I was going in to get cash because it's my nearest cash point, and there was a sign on the glass doors, and so I took a picture of it, and then we followed up by getting in touch with our MP, Leah Gazan, to see if there was anything we could do. And we also let our other representatives know, like Uzoma Asaguera and Cindy Gilroy, and they all wrote letters back to us saying, this is a concern for us. And so then a little group of us got together and we met with the bank manager, the branch manager, and we tried to understand why they were closing.
And what did you understand from the conversation?
Well, they said it was an executive decision, which gives me the impression that it was made somewhere up the stream. And they said they wanted to better meet the needs of their clients, which sounded like they wanted more hours. And we felt that that's something that they could do here. So there wasn't a reason for them to move, in that regard. And then I suspect that their key reason is they want people to switch to mobile banking and cell phone banking, online banking. So I think that they're hoping everybody will just switch, but that's not really a reality for many, many people in our neighborhood.
So tell me a bit about your neighborhood and about the people that use the bank, like why you're worried about this and you think it's important to have that physical space there.
Well, there are both personal reasons and community-based reasons. So the personal reasons have to do with people who have a physical disability. And lots of people in our neighborhood use walkers and so on and use wheelchairs. We have people for whom the physical accessibility of the bank is important. And also this bank may suffer from having been too good. They have people who speak 8 different languages there. And we have an incredibly diverse neighborhood. We have people I looked up the stats, and we have, from the 2021 census, we have 37% of our population is non-white and 22% of our population is Indigenous. So it's a very diverse population. And so having that kind of service has been really helpful.
And no one's going to get 8 languages on the phone.
No, they're going to go through that, press 1 for this, 2 for this. It's going to be very complicated.
What worries you about the distance you'd have to go, or your neighbors would have to go to physically be at a bank now? And I don't know what that would mean for you. Like, is it multiple blocks away, or would it be quite a ways to find the next physical ATM? You have to take a taxi or an Uber?
Well, I live in the middle, so this bank is 3 minutes for me. The next bank is 10 minutes there and back. So it adds 20 minutes to every trip, that kind of thing. For people who will need to switch, there are 2 financial concerns. One is if you use another ATM, it costs $3.50 per transaction. So if they go to just an ordinary money point or whatever they're called, an ATM, they are going to be charged extra for that. And if they have to take a bus or take a taxi, that all adds to what's really the cost of their banking.
Yeah. Also, I guess on computer banking and internet banking, I think it doesn't acknowledge that not everybody has.
Right. Like there's
access.
An assumption, and we have. I also looked up the poverty stats. 23% of the population in our community are low-income people, and so low-income people, if they get a computer, can be kind of accused of wasting their money on a computer when they don't need it. So you're kind of in a damned if you do, damned if you don't position around phones and computers. And many people do not have. The person that was quoted in the news story earlier, Ella, she has a home phone, of course, but is not interested in a cell phone or having a computer. It's not a possibility for her right now. So, I think the assumption is that this is the direction that we're going, and it just doesn't work for everybody. And in a neighborhood like ours, we have to try and keep as many of the ordinary things as possible, like a grocery store, an accessible, Dollarama type store, and losing your bank is a big deal.
You actually use a term that comes from grocery stores because we often hear about food deserts.
Yeah.
But you say this is going to make your neighborhood a banking desert.
It will. Like for people, I really do not know what people are going to do. I've been just chatting with my neighbors, and some people have said, well, I'll just have to take a taxi. But those things all add to the cost. And I checked on how much the RBC Bank made last year, and they made $16.2 billion, right? Like that's quite a bit of money, So I think we would like them to not just move, to think about the neighborhoods specifically that they're in and how important they are to a community.
Now, as you mentioned, some members of leadership, Minister Zoma Seguera and City Councillor Cindy Gilroy, have written letters condemning the bank closure. What more would you like to see from them, or what are the next steps from here?
Well, we have a couple of things. Leah Gazan in her letter talked about the Financial Consumer Agency of Canada, and she wrote a letter to the Minister of Finance suggesting that he have the Financial Consumer Agency of Canada address this concern. So that, I don't know, that might be a possibility. We're also having a meeting. We went to XQ's, which people in the neighborhood will know. It's a place at 551 Sargent. And this coming Thursday, June 26th, we're going to have a meeting from 12 to 1 and another one from 6 to 7 to try and see if there are other community concerns that could, that we could take forward, or if community members have other ideas, or to see what people think they're going to do now, if it closes. And I mean, I guess a distant hope would be that if this closes, at least another banking institution might think, oh, this seems like a pretty active community. This would be a good place to be. But we really want this bank to stay, because otherwise everybody has to switch accounts. It's a convenience that will be lost, and it means more in our neighborhood than it does in other neighborhoods where we don't have as many people driving and all that kind of stuff.
So June 26th is next Thursday. I think I have my date right.
Yes, you're right.
Excellent.
You're right.
So XQs between 12 and 1 and 6 and 7 if people want to weigh in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. They're more than welcome. And Sal, who runs XQs, is always very welcoming. So
yeah, Sal and Ventino, really neighborhood minded. Cheryl, thank you so much for being in here and talking about your concerns and some of your neighbors' concerns as well. We appreciate it.
Well, thank you for covering it, Marcy.
That is Cheryl Martins, one of the residents of Winnipeg's West End. CBC did, by the way, reach out to RBC for a statement. A spokesperson for RBC says the West End branch is merging with the one on Ellice Avenue near Polo Park. They say, just to reiterate here, that the decision was made after considering how to best serve their clients as more people use other banking methods.